must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Political Command Center and back in Nairobi. Thank you very much from the General Headquarters, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.
A very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, viewers, the participants, my correspondents, and the men who say it as it is. I think we have been vindicated from Professor Douglas, Miriam, Tawish. What we have been saying has come true. That behind all these clouds, there is a Mr. Somebody, a president. I don't want to call him Mr. like the judges said Uhuru 13 times. There is behind all this, there is a president who works. There is a president who wants development. There is a president who wants to push Kenya to another level. The infrastructure. All this infrastructure you see we are laying down are for the great benefit of the future generation. You cannot have a hustler without a road. You cannot have a hustler without a hospital, without a house, without a shelter, without transportation to one place to the other. Hustlers also fall sick. So today, we are going to look at one of the aspects of who President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is, who he is, what he has been, what he has done. Behind all these crowds of constitutionalism or elections, there is a hard-working president who delivers in his projects, who delivers, who tries to leave something, a mark, to the people of Kenya. When you go across Nairobi city and see all the way up to the airport, this is somewhere where Colonial Road passed. Colonial Road, first Maram, then Tarmac. It has now been turned into a biggest motorway, which is not exhibited in any of the cities of Africa that I've overseen. Where I've traveled, some of the cities don't have that type of road running in the middle of the towns. But here we are, a president has delivered. Here we are, we have a person who feels the people of Kenya that they will need to transport their goods. They will need to import. They will need to take out goods from South Sudan corridor, from Ethiopia, from the landlocked Central African Republic, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. We need to widen the ports. We need to have more berths for the ships to dock. That is the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Today, our opinion, your opinion, my opinion, Miriam's opinion, don't go too much in details. Please discuss, all of you, your opinion, my opinion. This show is my opinion. Whether the opinion is positive or negative, which I don't expect any negative opinion on this television. Otherwise, unless River Nile is running back to Victoria. But I expect some criticism of failures, yes, of re-engagement, successes. Where President Uhuru Kenyatta has succeeded, let's give a credit. Where there are obstacles, in my opinion, for example, my opinion is he should have done no perestroika. He should have done overhaul to avoid the tag of captivity. captive democracy. You are captive by law, captive by judiciary, captive by parliament because of the bad law, the constitution that Tawish voted overwhelmingly to put in place. It has captured our executive in Kenya. You can't operate. You can't put people on firing squad. Professor Onyari travels quite a lot in these African countries. Some of them throwing paper on the street, litter, could land you in very huge trouble. And if you disagree with some of those younger boys, they can actually teach you a very good lesson that you have never, that you regret, Karanja. Why did you come to this country? Why did you come to Rwanda, for example? Because the boy telling you that I don't care. I don't care who you are. I want you to pick this rubbish and take it there. And if you don't, I am going to deal with you, then take you to court. You regret why you even tried to get a plane from Nairobi to arrive in Rwanda. So some of the countries have done perfectly well on corruption. Some of the countries have not done very well. But Kenya has tried to do, but it ended up in captive democracy. Later on, I want Karanja to watch my personal account. It is gonna go on fire. You see, the biggest problem with Ruto's supporters, the ones we call Tang, they have never even traveled outside Kericho. But he wants to tell you he knows more about Singapore. So when you are dealing with a man like me who knows Singapore, who has been to Singapore like 7 times, who knows that there is a restaurant that rotates while you are eating, while you are sleeping, while you are dancing, then the world, even God can be laughing at us. That what is going on? You are in a tea plantation in Kericho. You are opposing a man who has traveled to Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Bangkok, China, Beijing, Australia, Perth. Then you call him foolish. Onyari talks with the first ladies of this African continent. Then you tell him you are very stupid. Yet you have never even seen one first lady closer to a range of 1 meter. Look at the mindset, the stupidity, the morality, very bad mindset. Don't raise beyond. Onyari will preach to you that he is a champion of church. It is not Matanga who created the class struggle. No, nobody has ever answered the question as to why there were only people 5,000 who ate the real bread, and then the rest who arrived ate of kunkumura, which means the particles, the fragments. So
there was enough for them.
Yes, don't blame me. I did not eat fragments. I was part of those who might have eaten the 5,000 bread. Or I might be one of those who has eaten fragments. So we can't all be equal. But coming back to the essence, the truth is there is a captive democracy in Kenya. Let's open up. Let's begin with our video. Our video on the Lapsset. Before the video comes, and hold it, Miriam. Miriam, you'll deal with the geopolitics, you'll deal with infrastructure. I will deal with the mercenary geopolitics surrounding the Lapsset. It would have been finished long time ago. But where did we go wrong? And Onyali, let's be honest, it is we ourselves in Kenya who wrote documents to the French telling them that pipeline is very close to Al-Shabaab. Let's talk, Miriam. Let's play the video. Deal with the background information of Lapsset. I am going to handle the geopolitical nature of Pan-African integration. The hinterland, how far it goes, what benefits, why Sudan paid people in Kenya to dissuade people not to carry, to conduct, to finalize. Why Museveni quit the pipeline? Why did Uganda withdraw? What happened? Why was this so? Was there something that is wrong? That's what I want to deal with. Thank you very much, Miriam. On the panel, we have Professor Onyali, Javani Karanja, Samuel Otawish Olisasana, and we have Kirimi. I've done it quicker. That is it. Back to you in the studios, Miriam. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let's just watch that video and then we'll continue this conversation. Towards realization of the grand vision of better infrastructure, the government is soon commissioning operations of the port of Lamu in June 2021. 3 of the 32 berths of the port have been completed, and it's expected that Lamu port alone will handle up to 24 million tons of cargo annually when fully completed. Lamu Port construction is part of the $25 billion Lamu Port, South Sudan and Ethiopia Transport Corridor project, also known as Lapsset. The transformative Lamu Port project was officially launched by the government of Kenya in March 2012, and its construction continues in earnest. Commissioning of the Lamu Port will play a significant role in the next phase of Kenya's socio-economic growth. The soon-to-be operationalized port will continue to modernization of Kenya's infrastructure and boost communication and transportation, which are some of the key pillars of Kenya's dominant position in Eastern Africa. The government of Kenya has committed to expanding Kenyan road and rail network to better open the country for trade and also to cement Kenya's position as a regional transportation and communication hub. As the government of Kenya strives to bring the country into a new realm of increased economic growth and raise the living standards for the population, many infrastructural projects have been commissioned. President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained instrumental in championing for a new chapter of Kenya's infrastructural development, and that is why the mega Lapsset project is gradually becoming a reality despite the challenges the project has faced. Lapsset is one of Kenya's flagship long-term infrastructural development programs under the country's Vision 2030 and the infrastructural development pillar under the Big Four agenda. Through its multiple infrastructural components, including the 32-berth Lamu Port, regional highways, rails, oil pipelines, and refineries, as well as resort cities along the corridor, the mega project is projected to become a major contributor that will take Kenya's annual gross domestic product, that is the GDP growth, to more than 10%. The Lapsset project will not only become one of Kenya's revolutionary infrastructural development projects in the country's recent history, but also contribute to realization of African Union's vision of integrating the continent for regional trading by 2063. The government of President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained committed into bringing the Lapsset grand vision into a reality. The project bears heavily on the President's ambition to modernize Kenya's infrastructure to cement Kenya's position as transport and logistics hub in East Africa and the Horn of African regions. To hasten the realization of the benefits of the Lamu Port Initiative, the government has been upgrading and constructing roads that connect the port as the regional hinterland encompassing Ethiopia, South Sudan and Uganda. The port will also connect Kenya and the regional hinterland to some other 300 ports globally. The initiative of the Port of Lamu is also expected to create many jobs domestically, including jobs in fishery, manufacturing, logistics, trade, agriculture and commerce. Just a small history on Lapsset, but I'll just take it back to where Dr. Matanga will give us the geopolitical history behind this Lapsset project.
First of all, thank you very much, Miriam. It is very clear that, in my opinion, Africa wants to open up. My opinion, Africa wants to integrate. My opinion, Africa wants to develop economically. My opinion, the population of Africa, which will come to almost 1 billion people in a few years to come, by 2030, needs infrastructure. The basis of infrastructure, therefore, delivers the exports, which we need very much for our GDP. We need the GDP to deliver our health care. We need the GDP to grow, to deliver our schools. We need the GDP to be manageable in order to put up industries. But you cannot put up industries without the infrastructure that will enable the industries to go. Students watching this clip, of my opinion, it's very, very clear that we are entering an area where we don't want more and more diseases coming towards us. When you enter a plane going to Britain, first they tell you to close your nose, then spray malaria that you might have carried some mosquitoes, Miriam. Maybe there are some mosquitoes in your bag or your body in a shirt. You might take it lightly. But why do they do so? They are doing so, Miriam and the panel and my fellow colleagues on this, is because their infrastructure has killed mosquitoes. There are no mosquitoes in Britain. A mosquito, even if you sleep outside, it can't bite. There is no mosquito. Why? There is no stagnant water. All the water has been piped to enter either Atlantic Ocean. Actually, it's surrounded by Atlantic Ocean. So the water goes east in Wales, west in Kent, south in Surrey, other part of Somalia, of Jubaland, is a place which has no roads, no toilets, no schools. We need to develop that hinterland. It's for the betterment of Somalia, really. The Somalis might not see that, but Lamu Port will help Somalis who are closer to the border with Kenya than they will help anybody else. Kenya has a port already. What does this port entail to Africa, to the region of Africa? In summary, point number one, I've laid out the points. I hope my panel and the panel and my fellow panelists are taking some of the points. Economically, you need infrastructure. You need more ports. You need more roads. You need more pipeline. You need oil to go. You need a refinery. You can't build a refinery in Lamu without a pipeline coming from the hinterland. We are discovering that the whole of Congo region the Albertine region of Congo, across in the DRC, Sudan, South Sudan, there is oil. The formation of Earth and geologically seem to be saying, hello, as much as you are saying there is this, we are silent, but we have something underneath. Professor Nyari is saying the blacker gold is somewhere in those areas where people are fighting on top. Therefore, you need to take it out. The beginning of this sport, Kenya government and the French government agreed, and the French wanted to invest in the pipeline that will run from Lamu to Lochika. I think so. If I'm wrong, some of those names are very complicated for me, Miriam. Lochiga, and then it will go to Hoima in Masindi and Albertine Road region, then go to Juba and other areas of South Sudan. At the beginning, it was agreed. We thought it was a good Total Oil will endeavor to pump in money. Somewhere in the middle, agents of doom of Africa against Africa who don't want Lochika, yes, Lokicha. Thank you very much. In Lokicha, things started to work out very nicely. People ready for investment, building hotels. Somewhere halfway, after this so-called intelligence dossier, there came Total Oil saying, hello, we are sorry. We might not be able to fund this project. But I want to give you a brief that links up with the current, because my President Museveni, as we speak now, he looks like he's in Dar es Salaam, or he's somewhere in Dodoma, in Tanzania today or tomorrow. I think today, to sign the final bid, which has a hiccup. In the middle of this agreement, Total Oil went back to France to consult. As I have told you before, the French economy is controlled by George Soros. Whenever I talk about George Soros, some people think I am really very mad man. But I want to tell you the truth. One day you will know that I'm not mad. Total Oil, the French economy, is controlled by none other than Mr. George Soros. George Soros has 3/4 of the banks that we see in France. When they went back for funding, the French banks said, we don't have the money. They pulled out of the project. Politics came in. Geopolitics, Uganda started saying, it is very difficult, it's very expensive. Kenyan compensational grounds for land is very difficult. It takes a long time. It consumes a lot of time. We might not be able to realize the dream of the pipeline from Lochika up to Hoima, and Lochika up to Lamu. Uganda was confused, convinced, boxed in the corner by the then Total Oil lady who was in Kampala, who used to be actually like a head of a minister in the cabinet of President Museveni, who used to advise everybody about matters of France. And indeed, Miriam, they withdrew their support for the Lamu pipeline. Ladies and gentlemen, after the withdrawal, Uganda was left and turned to Tanzania to do the Mwanza, Tanga, Hoima pipeline. which was longer than the one of Lamu, Lochika, and Masindi. Another geopolitical dimension that created chaos, my opinion, is General Bashir, the former ousted leader, of Sudan. General Bashir was very instrumental in undermining President Uhuru's project of the pipeline. Why? In my opinion, General Bashir saw an opportunity lost if South Sudan was going to export its oil through the Lamu pipeline. Then Port Sudan will have some rats and mice sleeping on the pipelines at the port of Port Sudan in the Red Sea. Literally, I'm saying in Africa, one of the things that comes to laugh at you when you have poverty. I don't know whether any of you on the panel knows. The first animal that comes to laugh at you when you are very poor, what is it?
The mice.
Is
the mice. The mice.
Bad luck. Bad luck. You see when the mice ate the chairs of General Buhari, have you seen Buhari coming back again? The mice came and ate General Buhari's all the sofa set. Not even the soldiers were hearing. So mice is related. Imbeva. I don't know what the Jawish calls it in their language. Imbeva. That thing that comes to eat your feet while it is doing exhaust pipe. You don't feel the pain until you step in the dew in the morning when you are going with Chembe with Mama. You are going to dig with Mama. Those days in the 60s, Matanga is following Mama to go and dig in 1961, 62. I was already grown up. Mama, let's go and you dig one before you go to school. You have to learn. Then you feel that, ooh, something, mom, there's pain here. That is Imbeva. It has eaten you without telling you. You are eaten. So these are some of the things. I wish in your language you call it imirivi. You can see it is mentioned alone. In every language in Kenya, it is mention of a mice. It's bad. The words are not very good. Imirivi. You know, it is like ash. What is wrong with that? Coming back to the topic, as we have not much time, the geopolitical situation of Sudan coming in to deny Lamu port the capability to carry the oil made South Sudan, and then South Sudan immediately fell into a war. A war began in South Sudan. Miriam, things became very difficult. The points to note here is expert. I don't want to mention the name of a man who wrote a report, which I managed to see somewhere being used against Kenya when they said the pipeline is too close. And that is what I believe will be the geopolitical situation. But today, I am humbled to see that President Uhuru Kenyatta is receiving the first ship coming to dock in with equipment. That is the beginning of life that will help the Great Lakes region, integrate Africa, integrate the region. Thank you very much. For now, I submit, and back to Miriam for your guidance.
All right. So the Lapsset, Corridor program is part of Kenya's Vision 2030 strategy, which is the national long-term development policy that aims to transform Kenya into a newly industrializing middle-income country, providing a high quality of life to all its citizens by 2030 in a clean and secure environment. The vision comprises of three key pillars. The first one is economic, social, and political. The three pillars. Now, the economic pillar aims to achieve an average economic growth rate of 10% per annum and sustaining the same beyond 2030. And we know that the Lapsset project stands for the Lamu Port, for those who don't know, South Sudan, Ethiopia transport corridor, and in that the corridor comprises the following components. Perhaps you look at it one by one and see what that will mean to the Kenyan economy and the larger East African community in general. And the first is the standard gauge railway line that was part of the corridor. And the next is the road network that we've seen President Kenyatta really working on, the oil pipeline that will include crude and product and oil refinery that is supposed to be in Isiolo and Lamu, international airports in Lamu, Isiolo and Lokichogio, and Port of Lamu, the Manda Bay that now I think President Kenyatta is there today for the first berth of the Port of Lamu. There are supposed to be 32 berths. And resort cities are supposed to come up in Lamu, Isiolo, and Lake Turkana. So this corridor is tied to a lot of other economic development projects that is set to, set Kenya as one of the key economic and transport hubs in this region. I'll go to Professor Jared Nyari.
Thank you, Miriam. This is a good topic, and it's one of my pet subjects that I like discussing. When the Lapsset was being demonstrated to President Mwai Kibaki, and one of the things which happened to this country is that we had President Kibaki as our president. Very brilliant, very focused old man. So when it was being demonstrated that we can come up with the Lapsset and come out with the three infrastructure which you have said, Miriam unajua vile alisema, sio ni kama kufungua dunia ingine. You know what that one means, Miriam? Kenya, if we midwifed that Lapsset properly, Miriam, Kenya will never be the same again. You know the people in the northern frontier, Miriam, people in Turkana, Miriam, they say when they come to Nairobi is when they come to Kenya, Miriam. You hear this? So we were committed to open Kenya. And Miriam, when you have got the road, the road itself is development, Miriam. So the Raja population could have moved from the southern hemisphere of Kenya to the northern hemisphere, Miriam. Because of the geopolitics, Miriam, of which Dr. Masanga has ably explained. And because of the bad manners of Kenyans, Miriam. Corruption. Some of the characters had the idea that we will have the Lapsset. So they went through Miriam and they purchased bunches of land. And as much as you want to blame Kaguta and our neighbors, land in Kenya is much expensive, Miriam. The standard gauge railway run which we have had, Miriam, much of the money has gone to the compensation of land. Land in Uganda is cheaper, land in Tanzania is cheaper, land in Ethiopia is cheaper. So when you indulge yourself, you are going to acquire land and then you want to sell it very expensively, Miriam. Who can deal with your project, Miriam? That was one of the hiccup. But when you have every read what is happening to Vision 2030, Miriam, that one will open this country, Miriam. You need some of the goods, Miriam, have to come to Mombasa, come to Nairobi, go to Isiolo, all the way to this one. We will forget about this one. This one will be here just only serving Kampala and Rwanda. But the northern parts of Uganda, southern Sudan, DRC, Ethiopia, some parts of Somalia, the way Dr. Masanga has put it, will be served by Rampart. What does that one mean, Miriam? It will, our GDP could have gone to 10%, and I have no doubt one day it will be there. And those ones who don't wish well for this country, either because of the geopolitics, either because of the corruption, Miriam, one day we shall overcome. The northern hemisphere, there are some parts of northern Kenya, Miriam, which has never been dug, has never been utilized since God created. So when we will have the railway, the standard gauge line passing there, when we will have the pipeline passing there, when we will have roads passing there, Miriam, that's already development. And we take and you take what that region, Miriam, and you are having an international airport at Isiolo. You are having an international airport at Ram. You are having international airport at Rodrick to Canada, Dr. Miriam. Do you know what that one means? You don't need to come to Jomo Kenyatta. You only need to get your goods and then they go to the outside one. So it is a good thing. That was a good dream. And the project, and one of the things, Miriam, let me just tell you this. I've started having some fear in myself that if we will not succeed with the BBI, and then the ones who are going to succeed, if we don't manage our succession politics properly, Miriam, the Lapsset project may not even see the light of the day. But I thank God we have taken a step. The point I'm making, that President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has consistently and religiously and faithfully implemented all the projects which were dreamt by President Mwai Kibaki. You see now today, we are receiving the first ship. I personally, I was in Ram in November, and what I'm trying to tell you, the standard gauge and the Lapsset is a reality. It will come to pass. So what we need to do, this is a good thing, and we need to support President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for the remaining term of his term in office, so that he can be able to put these things in place. Because Miriam, I don't trust some of the characters who are going to succeed him if we don't manage our succession properly. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. And President Uhuru Kenyatta today is commissioning the operationalization of the first berth of the Port of Lamu. As I mentioned, there are 32 berths. A berth means a place where has been allotted for a ship to dock, all right? It's your Spanish, that is what it means. So that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to commission there in the Manda Bay Lamu port there. And so just maybe to understand, because a professor reminded me just a few days ago, I think the people from the DP's camp, while they were, bringing to Kenyans whatever the economic strategy is, they were saying they do not like the fact that President Uhuru Kenyatta is concentrating so much on infrastructure. And, I don't know why anybody would have a problem with that, because infrastructure is the key to everything in a country that seeks to develop and move forward in all aspects. And so in the Lapsset project, as I said, the Lamu berth has 32. Lamu Port has 32 berths, and there are highways that are also, attached to this project. And this highway from Lamu, there's one from Lamu to Isiolo that is being built or in the process, and then there will be another one from Isiolo to Juba in South Sudan, and then another one Isiolo to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and then Lamu to Garsen. Those are highways that are expected to be built in line with the Lapsset project. And also we have railways that interregional standard gauge railway that it will be from Lamu to Isiolo, from Isiolo to Juba, from Isiolo to Addis Ababa, and Nairobi to Isiolo. And then there are airports that will be built to support this project. 3 international airports, one each at Lamu, Isiolo, and Lake Turkana. Understand? So this is major in terms of opening up these areas that we know
another
for a long
country.
time
That's another country.
Marginalized. Yes. So Samuel Tawish, what will this mean to the Kenyan economy at large?
Thank you so much.
Before Tawish jumps in, 2 things. Don't forget mindset. Professor touched on something that touches, and you have just touched on something that touches the mindset. Someone saying they don't like President Uhuru Kenyatta to concentrate on infrastructure. You see, we have very poor mindset, which is causing a lot of trouble for not only Kenya, but for the whole Africa. The younger generation today, I don't know what they want. That's all I wanted to intervene, and so that Tawish takes it on. Thanks.
And Miriam, there's also one point which you have brought. I want to just 1.11. Do you know why they are against infrastructure? It is simply they want to do it in their time so that they can be able to root. So the fact that infrastructure is going on now, they don't have that opportunity.
Okay, so corruption. All right, thank you, Professor.
Yes.
Samuel Tawish, go ahead.
Thank you so much once more, Miriam, and my colleague panelist. I acknowledge that was a very positive interjection from my seniors there. Miriam, you have asked a very pertinent question. What will be the benefit for Kenya in as far as the Lapsset project is concerned? And I think without going into specifics, the African continent, and more specifically the East African region, is more focused on opening up their countries or nations for trade and investment. And that trade and investment can only happen when we have, of course, accessibility, when you have a proper infrastructure. And that is why you see now South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and others are very keen on ensuring that we have this project actually taking off and succeeding, so that the region, the East Africa region, can be connected to the entire continent of Africa, and by extension to the whole world. So, Miriam, directly answering to your question, this project has the potential to boost Africa's regional socio-economic integration, because again, you've noticed we've been having these barriers in terms of doing trade, in terms of investment. It has been it's been hampering doing business, especially in the African continent, and that is why you're seeing that this project is not only focused on, of course, the Lapsset, that is South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and maybe the other regions like Uganda or Tanzania, but it's also focused on expanding the same to the rest of the African continent, including Central African Republic, that is in Bangui, and also in, of course, Cameroon, that is in Douala, the port of Douala, and of course the other countries, including, of course, Lagos in Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and others. Why do we have all this? Because it is something that has been equally spearheaded. It's an initiative that has been spearheaded by the African Union to see into it how the African continent can be able to link through this infrastructure, to link through one another through this infrastructure. Take, for example, today, if you are to export products, say tea or coffee from Kenya to some parts of this continent, like, for example, the Central African Republic in Bangui, it is very, very difficult. It could also be costly, simply because of the route, simply because of the lack of infrastructure. It makes it even more convenient and easy for products or exportation from Europe to Bangui as compared to maybe Kenya to Bangui. Why? Because we do not have proper and efficient infrastructure to make the same possible. So I think this is a very good project. Moving forward, there is no need for us to have any misgiving and reservation towards these initiatives. These initiatives are not meant to benefit an individual country, but the rest of the African region. And that is why you see Dr. David Masanga was calling upon the other regional leaders, including presidents from, say, Uganda and others, not to hold back on this initiative. In any case, they should actually pull together, weigh on how they can actually have the resources, a champion towards making this a success. It's a very sound policy, it's a very sound project that's going to go a long way in empowering the lives of the people, because again, with trade and investment, job opportunities are going to be created. Products can be imported and exported very easily, and that means, of course, expansion of the economy in these respective countries. Miriam, I submit.
Thank you, and thank you for reminding me about AU and its involvement in this project, because the Kenya's Mega Lamu Port, South Sudan, Ethiopia, a transport or Lapsset corridor program has now been adopted as an African Union project and redesigned to link the Lamu port on the eastern African coast of the Indian Ocean to Douala port in the western Africa Atlantic Ocean. So it started as a program for these parts of Africa, but now look at where it's going all the way to Douala. So that was adopted in the African Union, and of course the Lapsset Development Authority applied to the AU Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa under NEPAD, and subsequently to the Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative project under the African Union Commission. Too much formalities there, but the things that I've mentioned there earlier, Jevan Karanja, that are attached to this Lapsset project. Now we are going to have 3 international airports in Lamu, Isiolo, and Turkana. What will that mean to the economy of Kenyans living in that area, which a lot of them for a long time had felt very marginalized when it came to a lot of economic development?
Thank you very much, Miriam, and for having me on the show, and to my fellow panelists for the amazing contribution that they have made. For me, I'll say that the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta is on course. And the best thing with his legacy and his development agenda is something that we can see, is something that is on the ground. Today, as we speak, he is on Lamu, commissioning the operationalization of the port. Therefore, this means that the people on the ground, they can resonate with what we are talking about, and that is the best thing. We are not talking of things that will be done, but it's work in progress, and a lot have been achieved. And I hope, in my opinion, that the remaining projects that President Uhuru Kenyatta was focused or determined to achieve before he leaves office, he works on them before he goes home. On the issue of Lapsset, one, and in the issue of airports and other interconnecting infrastructure development that are coming on board, like the SGR, the airports, the roads, this ensures that people have access to good road. And what does that mean? In terms of in trade, it means that people will be able to translate their business with ease. People will be able to maximize on their profit. What does it mean to farmers? They will be able to have the inputs, maybe the fertilizers, on time. They will be able to export their goods in time. They will be able to make sure that they maximize on their profits. Therefore, those people who criticize and say that will we eat roads, I should remind them that roads translate to other, and all these other infrastructure development translates to other aspects of economic growth. Because when you don't have good roads, Miriam, you cannot have access to health. You cannot have access to your home. You cannot have access to the electricity and other means of social amenities that keeps our lives moving. Therefore, I agree that Lapsset is on course and it's beneficial to all people of this country and to the entire countries where this project is going. And Miriam, you have mentioned that it is going not only to these countries that have contributed to its growth, but is moving around the African continent. Therefore, this means that the people of Africa will be integrated, they'll be brought together by this infrastructural development. And what does that mean? This means that we'll have an exchange in our cultures. This means we'll have exchange in how we do our things. This means that we'll assimilate in one way or the other in good things that other countries maybe are doing better than us. This means that people will have to go and get jobs to this country. They'll have that exchange. And I see in future that we need to open up this African continent so that we can interact smoothly. And that will be achieved when we have good roads, when we have good ports, when we have good railway lines, so that we can interact and realize that we are all one. It's just but these imaginary boundaries that makes us look different. On the issue of Isiolo and the airport, this will ensure that the people feel as part of this country. That is very crucial. Number two, these people will start, in terms of doing business, I know they are good farmers, and they do beef and so on. And with this airport, they can be able to take their beef from Isiolo to Nairobi in time, or from Isiolo to Addis Ababa in times. And this ensure that they maximize on their profits and so on. Therefore, these crucial developments that President Uhuru Kenyatta is working on will ensure that this country is on the right track. And this issue, Miriam, of development, not only the Lapsset, but also the roads network, the railway lines, going to all parts of this country, even to areas that were perceived to be opposition strongholds. Kenyans are feeling that they are being integrated. We feel like we are part of this country, even to places where people felt like it's only some part of this country that benefits from the government's project. Now, when you go to Kisumu, they have the Kisumu ports, they have roads. When you go to Mombasa, when you go to all parts of this country, the northeastern, they are feeling like they are part of this country. If we can continue igniting that spirit of Kenyans feeling included, of Kenyans feeling that they are part of this country, then we are creating a culture of patriotism. Kenyans will start respecting their country. Kenyans will start loving their country because they see the government is also considering their interest. Therefore, to that extent, we are on the right way in terms of doing our things. And President Uhuru Kenyatta should continue ensuring that these projects are brought into limelight so that those people who go out there saying that President Uhuru has failed, or President Uhuru has not done this, or President Uhuru is working on what Kibaki laid, that is the way to go, Miriam, because the foundation, we work, this country will grow if the president that we have in office works on projects that were initiated by the previous president, so that we have a continuous smooth growth of our development agenda. But we see leaders who are saying that if they happen to become president, they will start new things, they will come up with some dynamics and other policies that will ensure that the old projects will not be anywhere to be seen. I wish to advise them that let's work on the project that are ongoing, and we finish them and we start on new project. That is the way to grow a country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also AU recognized Lapsset project as being very important to the realization of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, the groundbreaking of the Lapsset Corridor project at the site of the Port of Lamu took place on March the 2nd, 2012. So now it's 9 years on, and after which construction of the port commenced. And as I said there earlier, the first berth is 100% complete and ready for operations. Douglas Kirimi, I know when people hear Lapsset, they just think about the oil and the pipeline and all that, and that is also part of this very important project. But now from this we learn also we are going to have inter-regional standard gauge railway lines from Lamu to Isiolo, from Isiolo to Juba, Isiolo to Addis Ababa, and Nairobi to Isiolo. What will that mean in terms of opening up this part of the world to the rest of Kenya and to the rest of Africa, and indeed to the rest of the world?
Hi, thank you, Miriam, my fellow panelists, and also Dr. Masanga. This is one of my favorite topics, how the economy of our countries or our region is going to be revamped by the Lapsset project. Because, Miriam, when you look at it, even the way we do business is going to be changed in the region. For example, a Kenyan that manufactures mobile accessories in Nairobi or in Mombasa will be able to transport their goods or services in the region without necessarily having to worry about transport or reliable storage spaces. For example, when you look at what is happening in Kenya today, when this port is complete and opened today, the president is going to open it. Nobody is going to worry about the storage of their goods and services. After Ramu, it's going to go to some other place. It's going to be storage. There is also the internal container depot in Nairobi and other places. Infrastructure in the region is going to improve, Miriam. The manufacturers in the region are going to get their goods and services to the people, but they are going to get their raw materials and also produce goods that are going to get to the people, whether in South Sudan, whether in any other country, earlier than before. Because Miriam, when we were using road, when we without the Lapsset project, before we used to struggle a lot, and also manufacturers used to get their goods ready. With a new additional project that is the Lapsset project that is going to incorporate our regional partners or also friends and other countries, we are going to have an opportunity where manufacturers are going to have an opportunity to get raw materials easily and also transport their goods and services to different places and also very fast. And also, Miriam, I'll use an example with the Isiolo and Marisabit Road when it was being constructed. After every 3 or 4, 5 kilometers, government had to sink a bow. Government had to bring energy. Electricity was not an issue. In a region that was run down by bandits, people were being kidnapped day and night. A new road network has been constructed, and also that is also going to form part of the Lapsset project, Miriam. And also, when these people get new roads, get electricity, it also means that our curriculum is going to be revamped, even in countries that are beyond our geographical location as a country in Kenya. Curriculum is going to be revamped in this country because these infrastructural projects are going to make sure that there are so many jobs that are being created in the sector of vocational courses and also the sector of engineering courses. It means that our children are going to get employment, and also skills are going to be needed to fill the gap. And in our country, it is a reality, Miriam. It is only under the administration of President Uhuru Kenyatta with new infrastructural projects that we have seen our curriculum change. Even people that are going to colleges today, they are not after getting a blue collar job. They are after doing the vocational courses and also engineering courses, because there is too much that is happening in the country. And also, Miriam, another point on, for example, on roads and also the other Lapsset related projects. These roads need maintenance. Jobs are going to be created on the way, like Tawisha said. It is going to make sure that locals are being employed to maintain these roads, right? They are being employed every other day on Vika Road to maintain, sweep the road, make the flower beds, and make sure that the road is in good shape and all that, and making sure that the roads are repaired. These people who construct these roads, especially the Chinese, are not going to keep repairing our roads. Our roads are being repaired by Kenya National Highway Authority. And which means, Miriam, even with the new projects that are coming in the region, whether they are in our country or in another country, we will create jobs for the region, and also our economic growth is going to be a shared prosperity. We are going to make sure that as a region we benefit, and also as a region we are able to make sure that people are able to come together, new markets are going to crop together, new roads, electricity, and making sure that the people benefit completely. Another point, Miriam, I see that is going to happen very soon with the Lapsset project as it expands into other countries. It is the growth of ICT and transportation. There are many projects that were marked under Lapsset projects by Kenya and other countries to be able to bring together their countries and regional integration and all that, to make sure that these countries are not only connected by traditional means of transportation, they are connected using pipelines, using roads, using the Lapsset itself, and making sure that these countries, their transportation is reliable and ICT is also reliable, so that they can be able to make communication between the countries that are transacting business within the Lapsset corridor efficient and also very fast. Another perspective, Miriam, infrastructure. Actually, there has never been any question bigger than the question of infrastructure in the world. Because even in the USA today, Miriam, they are putting up, there has never been any other bigger question in the public arena all over the world, Miriam, rather than the question of infrastructure. In public policy, that is the widest discussed topic, because, Miriam, when you look even at USA today, the US President Joe Biden is investing $1.2 trillion to make sure that infrastructure, they move the US from number 13 all over the world in terms of infrastructure development to at least number 1, according to his vision. Because, Miriam, infrastructure is the fulcrum of our society. It is the fabric that holds our societies. With the coming of Lapsset, Isuro Town has been elevated with airports, and also the value of land has increased, Miriam. So in these countries within the Lapsset corridor, value of land is going to increase, new markets are going to come, like I've said before, and also electricity, reliable electricity, schools are going to revamp their curriculum, and also young people are going to get their jobs, manufacturers are going to get their raw materials and also sell their goods within the region. Our shared ambitions in terms of growth, economic growth, and also political stability. Remember, Miriam, when we have so much that is shared economically, and including through infrastructure, even politically, we shall have a good rapport, so that we cannot be able to spoil our good newfound economic fortune. And also, Miriam, as I conclude, regionally, we are going to have our common ambitions, which is to grow the welfare of our people, making sure that people want decent living, that through the Lapsset project, that our region is going to grow their common ambition, which is the growth of their of livelihoods of their people, and making sure the welfare of the people is taken care of, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And already there is evidence of the extent to which the construction of the Lamu port has positively impacted the local communities, mainly through the direct employment and quasi-project that emanated from the port construction. The engagement of the local community has been an important cornerstone, enabling Kenya Ports Authority to correctly identify and prioritize community needs, starting from when the construction began throughout the project, and even now when the port is now functional. So in other words, it's not like in the case of Cabo Delgado, where the government brought in multinational companies to bring in some projects in that area, and the communities there were not involved. And so that's why we see like one of the key things that has brought the insecurity we see in that area in Mozambique. That is a story for another day. But what we're learning is that the government of Kenya made sure that the community in that region, especially in the Lamu part, have really been involved, so they are able to be part of the project and own this process and be part of that process. How is that important if you are bringing everybody on board in such a very important initiative by the government? Doctor?
Miriam, apparently I did not hear some parts.
Okay.
But paraphrase your question.
So
yes.
From what we are learning now, there has been evidence of the extent to which the construction of the Lamu port has positively impacted the local communities. And while the government was going on and started this project, it made sure that the community was involved. And we know one of the part of the problems there, I gave as an example, that even contributed to the insecurity we see in Cabo Delgado. The government never involved the people there when they were bringing in these multinational companies to start the whatever they're doing there. So the importance of involving Kenyans when it comes to such important projects, that was my question. Kenyans being part of the project.
Look, thank you very much, Miriam. As I have told you, and as I maintain, I am not against any Kenyan, but I'm against the type of mentality. You know, a mentality. This litigation or type of litigation, everything, dragging everything to litigation, everything, complaint. Kenya is not a lazy state. No, Kenya is a powerful state. Let's not become like South Africans, surely. Other people have suffered. We in Uganda, we suffered under Idi Amin. We understand where it pains when we start telling you the pain that we have gone through. When I speak, like the way I'm speaking, Miriam, I speak from an experienced point of view, where you see your friend is taken out of the car and is shot, and you are in the matatu watching, and they tell you to watch the way they are shooting him. That's the type of suffering we have gone through. So everybody in Kenya, even the local people who were complaining about this project, now are the happiest people.
They are, yeah.
There is employment. I have just seen a few of the people there saying, lorry drivers preparing for work, people buying lorries, you know, in preparation of hauling the goods that will be coming. You see, that now, how does this project become a bad project? If the government goes to ask everybody, what can we do? That port would have not moved. There is one point again, which we should not miss, Miriam, is the comparison of prices, pricing. I want to state categorically here that Tanzania's land policy, every land in Tanzania is owned by the state. Every land in Ethiopia, and I want my panel to hear this, every land in Ethiopia is state land. The land in Kenya is private land. I hope people who are watching us better listen to this analysis. The cost of SGR in Kenya cannot be the same as the cost of SGR in Ethiopia. Impossible. Or Tanzania. Because in Tanzania, the land the land is acquired by the state in Tanzania. Therefore, the cost of stating up SGR from, let's say, Dar es Salaam to Mwanza or Tanga to Mwanza is cheaper because the government comes, takes over land, says this is what we want to do, tells you to get your way out, and maybe builds you a house somewhere near Lake Victoria. You stay there. In Kenya, you cannot do that. So people who are harassing, who say Uhuru Kenyatta, the price of the SGR was high, Lapsset in Lamu was high. These are people who just want to disintegrate this state. Miriam, people want to disintegrate this state. My panel should understand that there is a focus on disintegrating, fragmenting this country. Surely the natives look at the benefits. One of the benefits, Miriam, if I were a farmer, if I were a man in Lamu, I would start building my 10-story hotel. If I was on that route up to Wanji, where else? The next town is Wanji, Isiolo, all those places. With this road coming, with this pipeline coming, with this light rail coming, people will need hotels. People will need to see what is inside the northeastern of Kenya. They will drop out at the stations as the train goes along. Therefore, you benefit. Tourism will increase. You will earn money from Sudan. People will come and bring their goods. You also give them goods. That is money. So, in my submission, therefore, is answering your question. To me, my opinion is that next time, let the government not bother about people who are creating, retarding development. Let's go with the few who know what it means. Look at the way they have criticized Uhuru Kenyatta about opening the Kisumu Railway. When people were demolishing, people had built houses on the rail. On the railway line, they have built shops, big shops. Surely you come and build a big shop on the railway line. And you know this is a live railway where the train is going to come to pass. And when they tell you to leave, you don't want to leave. You say, I want to know where to go. Now, such things, such are the areas where a state starts to fragment. The earlier the president, the leaders of this country start making sure that they bring people together to educate them with civic education, positive civic education, Tawish, not negative civic education. Mark those two words, positive civic education. Like the education of washing hands. Miriam, we didn't know. Most of us used to go to the toilet, come back and eat food and get a fork and eat without knowing that even on that fork, you are now leaving some germs there. But nowadays, there's nobody who comes from the toilet and starts eating without washing hands. That is a positive civic education. Isn't it? What else do? We have done our best. The benefits of this railway, this pipeline, this Lapsset are going to be seen. There is nobody going to say we don't know. It is there. So whether Kenya is borrowing, that's why Kenya now, Miriam, to help and to bring you up to speed, Kenya is being given more money. There is no lender in the world who can give you money when he knows you are going to disappear and dig a hole in your house. When they come to look for you, the lenders, unless they step on something and they know there is a hole here, you are listening from underground when your wife is being tormented that, where has he gone? When is he coming back? No lender can give you money. IMF cannot listen. We told people here, even some people who have gone to school, university professors, surely they are signing a petition to stop IMF to give Kenya money. Then which school, university did you go to? Kwangu mimi nasema ya wazi yake. You are Professor Kibwana. You sign a petition that don't give Kenya money. You have been teaching us about his international agencies. For example, Miriam. Then you tell your students, sign the petition. IMF will stop giving Uhuru Kenyatta money. Isn't it a shame? Didn't it release some money yesterday, which 48 billion shillings? It did. So where is your petition? Zero. It means you have nothing to tell the world. And another point I want to make as we close, Miriam, is the question why Ruto camp is very upset. Is they have lost their cow. It is the milk, it is the cow where they have been milking, where Ruto, do you know that he's running out of money? I'm told sources very close, he's running out of money. He's now borrowing from Asians who are being threatened. When we take over government, when we shall cancel all this, then these Asians run with money. He has run out of money because the projects where he used to hammer huge amounts of money, the government has taken them over. That's why they are very bitter against President Uhuru Kenyatta, some of them calling him a lame duck on national television. A whole senator who failed the exam for 2,000 times, called Senator Cherengei, who could not get a simple degree of law from LDC, from this school is of PLO Lumumba is called what? Kenya School of Law. He failed so many times. He's calling President Uhuru Kenyatta a lame duck on Citizen TV. What the hell is he? Even his coat looks like he got it from a market. Some of us don't wear coats from markets. Hawa watu haki ya Mungu hawa. Nyenye mnapata Kenyatta, you walk on him every night, every morning, walk on Kenyatta. Lakini Kenyatta naye ako na, there are some of us, you know, there are some of us who love Kenyatta like I love Liverpool Football Club. Hata kama unakata this thing here, this chest, utapata Kenyatta iko ndani. So when you touch him, he doesn't pay me. I pay my way here. Yes, if you touch him when I'm hearing, it's like touching Liverpool and beating more Sana, and you slap him in my presence. Tutakupiga. If someone beats Leicester Football Club, one of the Leicester, you love Leicester. It has now won a shield. Is it a shield? You know, it can't win a cup. It's a shield. You see? They won a shield, smaller shield. If you find your player being beaten, will you keep quiet? So some of these people insulting the president, they think Kenyatta has no friends, has no lovers. There are many people who like President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. They love his work. They love his ability of Pan-Africanism. So we shall put our chest there for you to beat. But Cherengei, nyonye kama mnakuja namna hivyo, mlikuja namna hivyo 2007. You know what you did. You know what you did. You know what you caused. Sasa mnaanza tena kuleta hiyo mambo ya kusema iko lame duck. This time we are prepared for you. Let the security agencies get prepared for some of these idiots. You know the way they make the statements. The president, how can someone say we don't want Uhuru Kenyatta to open Lapsset, let him bring us money? How much money will you get if they remove all that money from the Central Bank of Kenya? Medium and said divide to every Kenyan. Can it feed you even for a day? Can it feed you any Kenyan for a day? Jermaine, this pandemic can make us run mad, and it is not yet over. We don't know where the fourth variant is on the way. Look at India, where all of us were flying, Miriam. Everybody in Africa was flying to India. Look at it. If you can get one plane landing in India today, have you seen how God has changed the world? Which plane is landing in India? Even Kenya Airways itself. We have Indian tribe here. They can't see their relatives there. So let people rise up beyond a bad, poor mindset. That's all I'm saying this morning. Thank you very much. I hope I've made some sense.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. One of our viewers here, James, is saying we in South Sudan are eagerly waiting for the Lapsset project. It is very good for the development of the region. It will also create more jobs, particularly for Kenyans. And Prof, we know the Lapsset, the Lamu Port, South Sudan, Ethiopia transport corridor. Now we know the instability in South Sudan and the diplomatic bit of the download there between Kenya and Ethiopia. If this is not checked quickly, especially with the instability in South Sudan, how is this likely to affect the whole project and to affect the moving forward? Because on the Kenyan side, we seem to be doing very well, but we need these other areas for it to be a success. Professor?
Professor is gone.
Samuel Tawish.
Thank you once more, Miriam. Like I said earlier, I think in my previous submission, I think it is important for all the parties, rather the participating countries in this Lapsset project to pull together or rather mobilize resources so that we can transform Africa through this modern infrastructure. It is not possible for us to actually dream or have a vision of a greater Africa, of a modern Africa, when we cannot modernize even our infrastructure. Today, even traveling from one place to another, for example, in Kenya, has been made easier because of the good infrastructure projects that President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration has actually laid. It's very easier for you today to travel or even to fly from Nairobi to Mombasa or to Kisumu. And now having the ports, for example, the airports in Isiolo and other places in the region, makes it even more easier for people to trade and do business, and even those who want to do investment. And a classical example that Dr. Masanga did give, that the people in Lamu now, the Lamu island, around that place of the Lamu port, should be concentrating more on how they can put up, for example, things like hotels, so that people can now actually, when they go to the Lamu port, they can get a place to actually rest and enjoy themselves. So I think when we are talking about job creation, when we are talking about opening up these regions, it's not only for the elites, it's not only for the mighty. It's about also the ordinary people and what we can do. For those who want to do an investment and they think like there are policies which are not coherent enough, there are policies which are not sound enough for them to be able to do this business or to engage in that investment. But now when we are opening up, the dream of the African continent is actually nearing to fruition or to success, because first thing we need to ensure is opening up the roads, opening up the rails, opening up our airports. By doing that, it makes it easy for people even to move around easily without any kind of restrictions, Miriam. I'll be the happiest person, for example, today, look at what the railway has done for us, the standard gauge railway. It's very easy for you to go to Mombasa. If you don't necessarily have to go through a plane. You can go through rail and the standard gauge railway, which is also very convenient and easy and also affordable. You can go all the way to Narok or to Naivasha, and there's a plan to also actually revive that railway which goes through to Kisumu and to Malaba. What does it speak? It makes it easier for people to transport their goods from either Nairobi or these other towns to that part of the country, or even the agricultural produce from Malaba to Nairobi and even to Mombasa. So basically, I think it's opening up the avenues and avenues for investment and people to actually be in a position to do business, and therefore will be empowering our people economically. Miriam, like I've said, look at the Lamu port, for example. It's going to be connected through this Lapsset from the Indian Ocean also to the Atlantic Ocean. What does it mean? Doing business with the Europe becomes now very easy, and there will not be so much strain in as far as doing business with Europe is concerned. Therefore, this is something that we all need to embrace. Like Dr. Masanga has said, it's actually about our mindset and attitude we have towards such kind of projects. For people who have misgivings, people who are pouring cold water on such projects, maybe they have their own avenues, they have their own ways of doing business, they have their own alternatives. But for ordinary people, I think they are really very happy that President Uhuru Kenyatta is actually taking this as a priority, especially in his Agenda 4 as he almost exits office in his second and last term in office. Miriam, I submit.
Okay, thank you. Douglas Kirimi.
Miriam, when you look at what is happening with this Lapsset project, many people tried to dissuade the government from pursuing the Lapsset project, especially regional players, and also some people pulling out of the Lapsset project. But the Lapsset project is the greatest investment that ever happened to the Republic of Kenya. As the president opens these new projects into the country, we usher in a new way of doing things in our country. We usher new increased prices for land and also livelihoods for the people of Kenya. It has been able to be one of the projects that even the critics of the president that have been telling him to finish and go, they have been rounding him for that. Because even as business people have been complaining, Miriam, this is one of the game changers in the country. And I also believe in the region, beyond our geographical location, I can be able to offer my services. If I order goods from China or from Turkey, I can now be able to comfortably service my market without necessarily having to undergo a lot of costs in terms of storage, in terms of transportation, and also in terms of shipping into the country, Miriam. When you look at one instance, Miriam, the Lapsset corridor roads that have been constructed, Miriam, after every few kilometers, a borehole is sunk. Water has been provided to the communities. The needs of communities, regions, the region is being opened to a new complete level of infrastructure development. And remember, in the policy, in the development of policy worldwide, infrastructure is one of the most talked about issues that are bedeviling our world, and these are some of our global challenges. But remember, when we talk about the Lapsset project, we are talking about pipelines, we are talking about railways, we are talking about a good road network, we are talking about changing the way we do education, revamping our curriculum. People in the region are going to embrace engineering courses and also vocational skills that are going to make them better, to be able to service these roads, to service these pipelines, and also to be able to serve the clientele that will be coming from the outside world to our country, Miriam. Remember, the coming of Lapsset project, the way it is, has been able to usher a new era of development, even in regions that I never thought that we can be able to get people go invest there. People are investing in the Lapsset corridor, and they have been investing since it was earmarked for development and also for other regional players, Miriam. Like I have said, our common shared ambition, which is a prosperity of our people, the welfare, and the increasing the livelihoods of the people, because that is what every government strives to do. And I have heard many people say that the Lapsset project is not going to put money into the pockets of the people. I have heard people from the opposing sides of our country say that this Lapsset project, the president has been able to concentrate so much on infrastructural projects. As a good economist, everyone would know, even as a basic thinker, you would know the president, the retired president, Mwai Kibaki, did not give people money. When people asked for jobs from President Kibaki, he brought Thika Road, he brought other roads. When people asked for jobs from President Kibaki, He made sure that the infrastructure is better in our region, such that when a region had been connected to electricity, which the President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, has taken it to over 80% now. All over the country, people have electricity, including in the very most remote areas. People, I have heard you, Miriam, before, I think it was yesterday, when you said even in the remotest places, people no longer switch off their phones because they can no longer be able to afford it to charge. In the far-flung marketplaces, people can charge phones in the comfort of their homes, and the people can now be able to access better routes, better services, and also better livelihoods for the people. And this is also a call to the regional leaders. Let nobody dissuade you from the Lapsset project or any other project that nears the Lapsset project, Miriam, because these are kind of projects that are going to be game changers in the region, whether you like that man that is in power or not. The people that are talking about infrastructural projects that the president has been able to focus on, these are projects that are going to save this country billions of dollars and also save the people of this nation the anguish of unemployment. Remember, Miriam, the people that are lying along the Lapsset project, and even beyond that, people from Kisumu, from all over the country, will go and get employed in those projects and make sure that they can be able to provide for their children. They can take their children to school with an assurance when my child goes to school, they can be able to get employed, whether as hauliers of the many cargoes that will be around the corridors, or people will be employed as engineers, managers, procurement officers. Miriam, this is a game changer, and I believe even the regional players will create a more political rapport and economic rapport that will make sure that the Lapsset project succeeds and also gets to the people that it was intended to get, and also bring development in our region. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you. And every country right now is reinventing its economy to overcome the pandemic. For Kenya, a port, a pipeline, and railway generated revenue, and future economies of scale will be among our primary key drivers. True or false, Javen, as you give us your last opinion?
Yeah, thank you very much. That is very true, that developments in terms of infrastructure, in terms of roads, railway, ports, pipelines, these are things that open other sectors of economy, because that is where we need. These are the wheels that keep the economy moving. These are wheels that generate and maintains other sectors of the economy. Therefore, I agree in totality that that statement is true, that with good roads, with infrastructure development heading and being, and people having the right mindset, people who are hardworking, people who are going there to work hard, then we can maximize on the profits that we can make when we have all this infrastructure. Therefore, it is upon us as a country to ensure that these aspects, like agriculture and industrialization, that we encourage more Kenyans to go on that route rather than concentrating on these art courses that most of them end up unemployed and are frustrated, and they become hopeless. But when we can make agriculture a prestige enterprise, industrialization, innovative industry, young people will get employed, and they will use these roads to ensure that they take their goods and services to a majority of their customers. Also, it will attract more investors, and they to ensure that we have exchange of ideas, we have new models of doing things. That is, to me, what it means to have good roads, and Lapsset is on course, and SGR is there. Airports are coming on board. Therefore, we are on the right track. And I see there are people who criticize President Uhuru Kenyatta today because of what he is doing. But for 10 years, 5 years from now, they will see what he was doing. They will see the benefits of the markets, of all these things that he is ensuring that his cause as his legacy. Also, it is upon other countries like South Sudan to ensure that they work on their security, to ensure that their country have enough security, they fight terrorism, they fight militias, and they stabilize their country to attract investors. Because, Miriam, you cannot have access, and you cannot even build roads where people are fighting. They will come and destroy what you have done. They will come and uproot some of the metals and everything else. They will destroy everything. Therefore, it is upon these countries to ensure that they have security, they beam up their security so that they can be able also to grow as Kenya is doing. They can learn 1 or 2, 3 things from what President Uhuru Kenyatta is doing, and that is a very good thing. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. And just a reminder, President Uhuru Kenyatta today is commissioning the operationalization of the first berth of a port of Lamu. And as we mentioned earlier, there are 32 of those. Now, the main aim of the construction of the Lamu port, which is one of the main components of the Lamu port, South Sudan, Ethiopia transport, otherwise known as the Lapsset corridor project, is to complement the port of Mombasa while opening up Kenya's largely undeveloped frontier. So that is why. Dr. Matsanga, is he there? Okay. So I think that is where we end the show, my opinion, this afternoon. I think he's attending to something else. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Dr. Matsanga. Thank you, Douglas Kirimi, Samuel Tawish, Jevan Karanja, and earlier on we did have Professor Jared Onyari, who left the conversation a bit earlier. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now. Towards realization of the grand vision of better infrastructure, the government is soon commissioning operations of the Port of Lamu in June 2021. 3 of the 32 berths of the port have been completed, and it's expected that Lamu Port alone will handle up to 24 million tons of cargo annually when fully completed. Lamu Port construction is part of the $25 billion Lamu Port, South Sudan and Ethiopia Transport Corridor project, also known as Lapsset. The transformative Lamu Port project was officially launched by the Government of Kenya in March 2012, and its construction continues in earnest. Commissioning of the Lamu Port will play a significant role in the next phase of Kenya's socio-economic growth. The soon-to-be operationalized port will continue to modernization of Kenya's infrastructure and boost communication and transportation, which are some of the key pillars of Kenya's dominant position in Eastern Africa. The Government of Kenya has committed to expanding Kenyan road and rail network to better open the country for trade and also to cement Kenya's position as a regional transportation and communication hub. As the Government of Kenya strive to bring the country into a new realm of increased economic growth and raise the living standards for the population, many infrastructural projects have been commissioned. President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained instrumental in championing for a new chapter of Kenya's infrastructural development, and that is why the mega Lapsset project is gradually becoming a reality despite the challenges the project has faced.